Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. Welcome back to RJ Square Podcast. I am your host, November Montgomery, better known as Super Negro for today. Joined with my co-host Ray Nail and a special guest, Khephra Jackson. We'll start with Ray Nail. Ray Nail, what's been going on with you? Introduce yourself, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So again, I'm the artist formerly known as Ray Ray, now known as Tree Trunk. It's a
Great,
beautiful,
great.
beautiful Monday. Unfortunately, the temperature is rising. We are at 90 degrees today in the good old Carolinas, and we're looking to get to 97 painful degrees. So it's looking like it's going to be a hot summer this summer, J Dog.
Okay. And we have our special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, KKJ, better known as what's your alias today?
The throat stretcher.
How are you doing, young sir? Introduce yourself.
Good, I'm good. Yeah, my name is Khephra, the throat stretcher, as I'm currently known. I'm in New York, 98 degrees. This is
Ooh.
my first time doing this, so chill on me. Don't be too hard. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Hey, so real quick, before we jump in, Kev, what part of New York are you in?
I'm in the Bronx right now, but it's kind of like the Bronx and Manhattan because I'm right across the bridge. So I just walk across the bridge and I'm in Harlem.
Cool. Nice. Uh, from your apartment right there, how far is it from school or where you're doing your internship or whatnot?
Well, currently there is no internship. So currently I'm doing independent study. So I'm working on research papers, but I'm across from my high school.
Okay.
Oh, you're across from
Oh,
your old high school?
Creepy, nothing creepy. No,
ah,
not my old high school. It's like a charter school or something. But
Oh,
sometimes you
yeah.
get
You
okay,
said
okay.
nothing creepy. No, no worry. Hey, man. Hey, we believe in young ladies being in our lives, so long as they're legal, right?
right.
Nothing wrong with that. So anyways, J Dog, so what we're talking about today is the WNBA, more specifically, the Caitlin Clark effect. And I think it's a good way to kind of build off of context and speak to this conversation here, or set the table for this conversation, is to kind of just talk about what is the Caitlin Clark effect and what that actually means. It means that the WNBA, there was a world that existed, which was known as the WNBA before Caitlin Clark, and then there's post Caitlin Clark, right? And that means that she has been so influential in creating this popularity, raising viewership, attendance, merchandise, sales, etc., etc. And then a lot of that was prefaced with her kind of having this amazing rivalry. And I can't remember the girl's name from Louisiana that she actually went to the national title and took on from LSU. What was her name? It leaves me. Anyway, she went to LSU, and they're still rivals to this day in
Angel
the
Reese.
Angel Reese in the WNBA. Angel actually plays for the Chicago Sky, I believe it is.
Yep.
Yes.
So anyways, that's kind of us setting the table for this conversation, jumping into what Caitlin Clark has done, continues to do for the NBA, giving us a current state, and now looking forward into the future state. So would love to get your thoughts, immediate thoughts on the Caitlin Clark effect, Super Negro, or throat stretcher. The floor is yours.
You want to go first, TS?
No, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I just pulled up from ESPN right now. 2025 regular season thus far, averaging 19.8 points, rebounds 5.4, assists 8.9, steals 1.4. The Caitlin Clark effect is turning the WNBA on its head. I believe Raynell is correct. She brings in money, attendance, viewership, and she brings a national spotlight that wasn't there before her. Um, I think she's dynamic. I think when it's all said and done, if she stays healthy, she's going to be the Larry Bird and Jordan of the WNBA. That's what I think personally. I think because we're in a day and age of 2025, unlike before, where hey, just black athletes, etc., etc. I think how she plays, her shooting range, her passing, and her rebounds to a certain extent puts her on a level from a woman's standpoint of what LeBron can do in the NBA is what Caitlin does on the woman's level in the WNBA. That's my initial take. What about you, young sir?
Uh, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
No, she's balling. I think I saw a stat line that said she's one of her, Sabrina Ionescu and Paige Buchers. They're averaging 25 plus points this month, I think, or some crazy stat line this month.
Hey, Kev, who are those two ladies you just mentioned? I've never heard of them.
Paige Buchers. So she went to UConn. She just got into the WNBA, and
Okay, I see.
They won the championship.
yeah, they won a national championship. And Sabrina Ionescu, she plays for the New York Liberty. So like they're all similar players. It's just like different generations. Obviously, Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, she came first, then Caitlin, and then Paige. And you can like see that. You can see how, I guess, Caitlin Clark is like having an effect on like shot creators in college coming to the WNBA. Like they're shooting from 30, like passing the ball really well. So I think she's had a tremendous effect. She's a beast. The rivalry, it's not much of a rivalry.
Yes.
I think everyone will sort of, if you watch, okay, she's the better basketball player here.
By far.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
Not even taking anything away from Angel Reese, because she's good in her own way. She's like the Dennis Rodman type of player.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's a beast. I think. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So I think you have to also think, it's beyond the numbers, right? Because I think a stat that I was able to pull up and pull from ESPN is that in 2024, we'll call her CC for short, Caitlin Clark. CC was able or was responsible for 25% of the WNBA's revenue. That's staggering for one person to be able to do that. So go beyond the numbers, right? When we look back at history, who or what individuals had that kind of impact to their respective sports? Tiger Woods, right? Magic Bird, Super Negro, you kind of referenced Bird. And then, the Jordan effect, right? Is she at the Jordan level? No, I don't think so. Not quite, right? But this could be the beginning of that. And more importantly, she could be the Messiah for the WNBA, that person that truly saved the WNBA. Because if it wasn't for the NBA, right, the WNBA would have ceased to exist a long time ago. So maybe, just maybe, Caitlin Clark can be that foundational pillar for the NBA, for the WNBA. Those individuals, Paige Buchers, Sabrina, how do I pronounce your last name again?
Ionescu.
Yeah.
Ionescu. Perhaps those can be those side pillars that can help build that foundation for the WNBA moving forward, with Caitlin being at the helm.
Yeah, I agree. So I just think she's a large draw, and I think once one player, at the most two per generation, is a huge draw to a particular sport. And I think the timing that she came out, the position that the WNBA was in, her being able to have an award-winning season or two seasons in Iowa, not LSU, not Georgia, not South Carolina, but in Iowa, and to be blunt, lead a bunch of other white girls who I don't think any of them went to the WNBA. And I'm just being for real. I don't know if any, now they may have, but I don't know if any of them went to the WNBA. And I don't think if you just ask a Caitlin Clark person, name a Caitlin Clark fan, name one person off of her Iowa team that was a teammate, I don't think they can name any. I really don't. So I think she's a generational talent. I think she has range. And don't get me wrong, a lot of women in the WNBA have range. I think I was looking at the Valkyrie last night, and the chick hit like 4 out of her first 6. And I was like, oh, this bitch on fuck. Not bitch, but you understand. Well, bitch, it is what it is. Who knows if she's a whore or not, people? I'm just saying. Like, but either way, she may be a nice girl. But either way, they can get hot in the WNBA. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. It's not as exciting as the NBA. They're just different. They're not as fast. They're not as big. They can't jump as high. But it's exciting to watch for the level that they're competing on. And I just don't understand the amount of, I'm not going to say disrespect, but the amount of disingenuousness. Is that, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
That when she came in, other WNBAs were trying to place upon her. Like, she's a rookie. I understand. There is rookie hazing in sports, but she's bigger than everybody in the WNBA, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead to you, man.
Well, yeah. So, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kev.
My bad. It's similar to like when LeBron came in the league. Like when LeBron came in the league, they had like this press conference with the current Cleveland players, and they were asking like, what type of impact is LeBron going to have on this team? And the players, they were sort of like indifferent. They were like, oh, he'll be another piece. He's not going to change that much. I feel like it's natural. You have this 18, 19-year-old, even though Caitlin Clark was 21, I think, coming into the league. You're seasoned. You're like, no, she's not better than me, even though she is. But of course, like, you're going to have that mentality. You're not going to want to give someone their flowers when they haven't earned it, So I think, obviously, like, there was a big push for Caitlin Clark to become the face, and rightly so. But like that can build up a little animosity among the current players who feel like, I've been here. Where are the endorsements? Where are the deals? Where's the marketing? Where's the media for us? You got this chick coming in. She hasn't done anything yet. So I understand it. But like in terms of Raynell's argument, I do think she's like so essential for the WNBA. But I don't think she's the Messiah. I think she's the foundation. The WNBA, like fairly new in terms of like being just
consumption amongst
exactly a sport to watch. But like when you look at these other players coming in, they're coming in with that same Caitlin Clark skill set, but better. Like Paige Buchers,
she's a beast.
Juju Watkins, who's still in college, she got hurt, who's coming in.
She's gonna be a beast.
Yeah, so like give her flowers definitely, but I do think she's more of like the magic bird, but not the Jordan type of.
Okay, so let me ask you so I have 2 points. And that was great, Kev, and I appreciate your counter argument. Love that. I want to rewind a little bit. So Jermaine, back to your point. Actually, yes, a couple.
Raynell, it's Super Negro, please.
Oh.
If you can say it with me, you're allowed to say Negro, not the Nigger, but you're allowed to say.
We don't say we don't. Yeah. Only Ninja.
Okay, you're taking the safe way out. Understandable. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. All right. Super Negro. So back to your point. There were a couple teammates from Iowa that did make it. Specifically, Kate Martin was drafted by the Las Vegas Aces, and then Grace Berger was drafted by the Indiana Fever. Later played for the Los Angeles Sparks. Additionally, Sophie Cunningham, while not a former teammate, Iowa teammate, is currently playing with Clark on the Indiana Fever. So now,
the first Kate two was from Iowa, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Kate was actually drafted in the second round. So to your point, she didn't have like first rounders around her, right? She didn't have like other superstars like the Villanova men's basketball team a couple years ago that won the national title. You had Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, all these freaking the white boy. What's the white boy's name? Can't remember his name. There you go, the Italian guy. And then there was one more. Josh Hart was on that team too, right? Yeah. So I mean, they were like, that was stacked. Yeah. Whereas to support your point, Super Negro, the girl was literally playing with a JV team and made them a Final Four team for I think 3 years in succession. Going back to your point, Kev, the idea of her being, I love that point you just had made. You don't agree with the fact that she's a messiah, but you think of her more as like in a Magic Bird role, not necessarily the Jordan role. So then that's my question to you, because I don't have that much exposure to the WNBA, but this is what I am, a microcosm of the Caitlin Clark effect. Why do I watch or even look at the highlights? Because of Caitlin Clark, right? That's why I am that person, that guy that's been drawn in because of Caitlin Clark. But to your point, what does the, you just mentioned 2 or 3, the Paige Buchers, the Sabrinas of the world. Do you really feel that their skill set is on par or at the same level of, and then Jermaine or Super Negro, you mentioned someone that's still in college right now. Do you feel that those individuals are going to be at the CC level once they get to the WNBA or surpass her?
Go ahead, Kev.
No, that's a good question. I don't know if they're gonna be at the same level, because once you get to the big stage, like it while it's about your skill set and talent, it's also about the mentality. Caitlin Clark has the mentality of a superstar, but they certainly have like similar, if not better, skill sets than Caitlin Clark. But like marketability, like let's just talk about that. I think, especially like Paige Buchers, I think she has the potential to be just at that same marketability as Caitlin Clark. White woman coming into the league, she's killing everybody. Because you gotta remember, like, the NBA is mostly like black. A lot of Europeans. White people don't necessarily see themselves, and that's a big draw for the WNBA. You have this white girl tearing up black people, Hispanic people, Europeans, everybody. Like, it was the same thing with Bird, so it's people who wouldn't normally watch it. But those players coming up, I think they do have the potential, but you never know. It's also about, the mind.
Yeah, so a lot of people use the term the Mamba mentality, and she's got that. To me, she's a killer, right? She's not a type B, she's 100% type A. I saw her the other day kind of provoking or like taunting other players. Like, she's got some Jordan in her, some Kobe in her, and you can see that. But her skill set is very much in line with Magic and Bird. Over to you, Super Negro.
Yeah, I just want to go over a couple things here. This is an AI overview. As of 2025, Caitlin Clark's net worth is estimated to be around $5 million. Endorsements and NIL deals, a significant portion of her wealth comes from endorsements and sponsorship deals. Clark has transitioned many of her college name, image, and likeness deals to the WNBA. WNBA contract, Clark is currently on a 4-year rookie contract with the Indiana Fever, worth a total of $338,056. Key endorsements. She has collaborations or endorsements with top brands like Nike, Gatorade, Bose, and State Farm. Nike deal, notably, she has an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike, which also includes a signature shoe. Estimated earnings, she reportedly earned about $3.5 million annually from endorsements alone. Comparison to NBA salary, it's worth noting that her earnings from endorsements significantly outweigh her WNBA salary. While her rookie contract provides a solid base, her off-court ventures contribute significantly to her overall income. I don't think most of the women in the NBA, even if they've been there for 10 years, is worth as much as Caitlin Clark. And I think to a certain extent, that garners some type of disdain, especially for women that's been in the WNBA for 5 or more years, that's given it their all, that's been the face of their team and the top 10 players in the league. I think when a rookie comes in and they're able to set the town on fire, but still be able to walk around the streets untouched, how Caitlin Clark has, it impacts the older heads or the veterans in a way where I'm not saying they feel entitled, but they're wondering why her and not me.
Because she's shooting from the effing logo. That's why.
Well,
She's
hey, it's a few, but right now, like Kev said, there's a few players that can shoot from the logo. I'm telling you, she's not the only one. Now, I think she brought it more to the forefront. I think I saw a highlight today, and I saw the most threes ever shot by a WNBA game, and I was like, bro, they're putting these bitches up in the air now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
she's not the only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can
Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, I think no, that's completely correct. It's just crazy hearing like the difference in the salaries between the NBA and the WNBA, like 330K rookie deal.
Yeah, but that was 330K for 4 years, right, Jack? Or Super Negro?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I guess if you divide it, it's around 80,000 a year.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
It is insane, 100% insane. The girl is really making her big cash from endorsements. But having said all that, I do feel that when her rookie contract expires, she will be resigning, and she might be the first $1 million girl.
She will.
Female.
She will.
Yeah. She might be, and this is her breaking that glass ceiling. 100%. Destroying, obliterating that glass ceiling and setting the tone for future women that come behind her.
I agree. But what I will say, I do think she's going to break the glass ceiling. But at the same time, I think it's going to cause the same amount of positivity that's going to come from it. There's going to be just as much negativity that comes from it also, unfortunately. But I will say if she, well, let me say this. If she plays like how she played last year and this year, especially if she wins a championship within the first 4 years, there's going to be a reckoning with her actual contract, bro. They're going to have to pay her. And they're going to have to go to the NBA and say, hey, we need help paying her. I'm just being for real.
Yes. Yeah. So you brought up a great point, right? There's some negativities to all this hype and stuff like that. I think both you and Kev were talking about it. And let's delve into that, right? The nuances, right? Let's call it the target that has been developed and placed right on Caitlin's back. And I'm talking about the physicality now that she is receiving in these games. Some of the hard fouls, I think just in the last few days, there was a scuffle because she got fouled a little bit rough and her teammates came to her defense, right? It is becoming a common trend. I think that's in teams' game plan, if you will, when they meet up with her, is to beat the shit out of the girl because they just can't cover her. And they're getting, a little I guess butthurt because of all the attention that she's getting. But I'll turn that over to you guys and see what your thoughts are, and how much does race play into this? And can Caitlin continue to sustain this pace given the physicality?
Good question.
She's definitely like experienced a lot of hard fouls. People wanted to fight her, but she has teammates now who are good, like who back her up. Like you mentioned, Kate, that girl Kate, like she got into a scuffle recently because somebody fouled Caitlin Clark hard. But I
Cunningham, you're speaking of Sophie Cunningham?
Sophie Cunningham, my bad. I don't think like as a leader, because she's leading the WNBA, whether she wants to or not. that's just something that you have to deal with. When Michael Jordan came in, the model was, oh, knock this guy to the ground. When he goes in the air, we're gonna tombstone him. It's simple. And it wasn't necessarily personal. It was just like, no, we have to show this person like they can't just come in here and do whatever they want. They have everyone on their side. Let's take a little bit away from them. So like I like it, and I think it's good for the fandom too. I think like fans want to, especially men, like we don't want to see like, camaraderie and all this great stuff. Like, no, we want to see someone getting their ass kicked. Excuse my language. Like, we want to see fights. We want to see someone hit the floor hard, not get injured, but like we like that type of competitiveness. So I think like, she doesn't have to deal with it. Like she gets to deal with it. Like this is her, this is something that was bestowed on her. It's a gift, essentially. So like, I do think in terms of, I think race plays a factor only for the fans. I think like when players are playing, I don't think they're like, oh, this white girl is beating everyone, let's hit her. I think the fans, once they see the hard fouls, especially if it's coming from like a black person, they're going to assume some type of racial animosity, because a lot of people follow Caitlin Clark because, she's a white girl and she's beating everyone. So I think that's how race sort of plays a factor.
Okay. Love the question. Love the answer. I agree with Kef with the, not analogy, but the comparison between Jordan coming into the league. When he comes to the paint, we're going to foul him. We're going to make things hard. This isn't going to be a walk in the park per se. You're going to have to earn your points. If you score 40, but we foul you 15 to 20 of those times, well, hey, fuck it. You just scored 40. You're that good. But we're going to make it as tough as possible, and we're going to make you second guess yourself when you do come in here to maybe, instead of what could have been 8 of 10 layups, can now turn to 4 of 10 or 5 of 10. I agree with that. As far as the race component, I believe race plays a certain factor, but it's not usually how the media tries to spin it. I think race plays a factor to certain people. I don't think everyone is racist. I don't think everyone looks at Caitlin Clark like, oh, how this white girl doing it better than I am, the black girl. I don't think everyone. I think majority of them just look at it like, oh, this bitch can play. Like that's the way I feel. Do I think some players may have some type of racial animosity towards the situation? Yeah. And I'll tell you this. I think one of those players is Cheryl Swoop, who just goes everywhere and just talks shit. But she's also from a day and age where race was really a larger factor than it is now. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about somebody who played over 20 years ago. So I think with some players or ex-players, it's a component or a factor. But I think to the everyday watcher, we're not really thinking about that. We may hear it through media and things of that nature, but I don't think that's at the forefront of us watching the game. Like, oh, this white girl better than the black girl who's guarding her. I don't think that's it. I just think this basketball player is better than this basketball player, and they scoring each other. You're not always going to win the battle. It's who wins the war in the end.
Yeah. If I could say one more thing, like I feel like black people like that though. Like they like seeing someone from the other race like destroy the race.
So do you really? So do you feel that? And how do you get that sense? I'm curious to understand. Like, where do you get that from when you say that the black community embraces her because it creates almost like this I won't say villain, but another hero in the story.
Yeah, it's like you're walking into a space that's not dominated by you, but you're still dominating. That's like we have like massive respect for Larry Bird and Luka Doncic for the same reason, because they're not scared. They don't back down. Like they're gonna come at you, and we like that. It's just the same reason why we say, you're invited to the cookout if you like dance well, because like that's not your lane. Doing it just as good as us. Like that's.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and I take it to the person just to expand on that. I take it to the cornerback, the two white cornerbacks for Philly. Like, how
Oh,
many
yeah.
times this year did you hear what's the name? Desheen?
Yeah. Here, I'll
Yeah,
get him right
Desheen,
now.
like, hey, like, how did they find the rarest mineral in the world, which is the white cornerback for
Yeah.
football? And then he has an interception and a pick six in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So I
Cooper
agree with you.
DeJean. Cooper DeJean was his
Yeah,
name.
and
Second
then you
round
listen
pick.
to his name, Cooper Desheen.
Yeah.
Like, he's a cornerback.
Yeah. And you know what the crazy thing is? I think this guy went to Iowa of all schools.
Wow.
Yeah.
Him and Caitlin could be boyfriend and girlfriend.
Something about Iowa.
Oh, let me tell you what else.
Yeah. Go
About
ahead.
Caitlin Clark. She actually has a boyfriend. She's one of the few
Mhm.
that's not lesbian in the league and doesn't really try to draw from that and try to be on this modern day, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but like this, the whole pride thing. You know what I'm saying? I have a boyfriend. I'm straight. I don't know if she is straight. This is just what I've seen. I have a boyfriend. I'm straight. I like men. There's no need for me to come out the closet type shit. Where Paige Buchers, I believe, recently came out the closet, and I think she's better looking than Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, $28 million makes me very attracted to Caitlin Clark.
You would be trying to fuck a bitch for the money right now.
In a New York minute,
Gold
in a
digger.
New York minute. Yes, sir. Yes. Sugar all day long. Yes.
It
And
is
I
what it
do
is.
find myself, I'm looking at a picture of Caitlin right now, and I do find myself more attracted to her, to be honest, now that you mentioned her financial status. So Caitlin, my name is Reynald Saw. And if you do decide to leave your boyfriend, I am available. I'm an older man. But I think you and I may have a connection. We may
How much you
have a
charge per
little bit-
month? How much you charge per month? Hey, put a number on it. Let her know what she getting into. Don't lie.
All right. I think we could probably establish a sugar mama, sugar baby relationship for let's call it $8,000 a month. I think would do well, especially given the fact that you're making 28 million over in excess of 28 million. So
Yeah, I would say that's.
please let me know. What's that?
I would say that would be a come up for you.
Yeah, I think, and you know what? I'm not really. I mean, given the monstrosity of a paycheck that she has, I think she'd be just fine. Plus, I am very much attracted to taller women. And if I'm not mistaken, Caitlin, you are
Wow.
5'9". 5'9", is that correct?
He's like, shit, really? I thought she was.
Yeah, no.
What, we're looking for
really
a height?
excited. This is my message in a bottle to Caitlin. Yes.
She's 6 feet.
Yeah, she's.
Oh shit! Is she really?
Oh,
Wow, I thought she was like 5'9", 5'10".
yeah.
No. Okay, so Caitlin.
But you know, they always. But just to let you know, sports always put an extra inch on their athletes. I think
so
we know
let's call
that.
her 5'11".
Measuring.
5'11".
She's still tall as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So, and I'm very much attracted to taller women, Caitlin. So yeah, 100%.
Wait a minute, because Paige Buchers, I've seen them stand next to each other, and Paige looks at least an inch taller than her.
Taller. Yeah. She's
And
like.
Paige Buchers in here it says is 6 feet.
Oh.
But I could swear, because you know, even though Paige Buchers came out a year and a half later, they actually played, but Paige Buchers were hurt like 2 years in a row. She literally should have graduated the same year, I believe. Caitlin Clark graduated, if not the year before. But I think Caitlin Clark stayed for 4 full years or 3 full years in college. And
No,
I think Buchers
she
stayed
stayed all
for
the time.
5 because she was injured for 2, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, fairly tall. And Angel Reese, by the way, the quote unquote nemesis of sucks ass. I don't know if you guys. So there's this. Hang on. There's this one channel where like Angel Reese. Have you guys ever seen that TikTok
I've
channel or
seen it.
YouTube channel?
Yeah, because she just
Like, can we lay
all
a
that-
brick without? Can we lay a brick without concrete? Yes. But yeah, she's 6'3".
Yeah, no, that's a little too much. But Caitlin, I'm just joking. I'm not looking for that, though. I do find myself more attracted to you now that I know your financial status. Wishing you all the best. We are at a good point. Do we have any other thoughts or any other outliers or alibis that we would like to discuss? Because I have pretty much gone through my laundry list of topics for today.
That's it, man.
Or segments. Okay.
I appreciate
Go
the
ahead,
conversation. I think the WNBA conversation was good. I think Caitlin Clark is a bright and shining star. I still do think there's more stars in the WNBA. I just think they don't shine as bright as Caitlin for whatever reason. Is she just has that it factor? But go ahead, Kev.
I have two things.
Yes, sir.
One, I think people help you rise to stardom, right? Like I'll just talk about politics because I know politics. Like when you think about Obama, right? First in 2008, he was a first-time senator, right? He went against John McCain, a well-known senator, like a veteran, a war hero, and he essentially, like, I feel like iron sharpens iron. Like John McCain, Obama being like McCain's nemesis, or McCain being Obama's nemesis, propelled Obama to like that level of stardom. I think the same is true with Caitlin Clark. Even though she's the biggest star, I think the rivalry got this started. Like it got her ball rolling because people knew about Caitlin Clark. She was tearing it up in college, but I think once they started going back and forth, bickering, fighting, that's when more people started to tune in, and that's where people started to see, okay, Caitlin Clark, she has sharp teeth. Like she's not just a good player. Like she's also a competitor. But I did want to ask you guys, like, because Caitlin Clark's one player, Paige Bueckers is one player. In order for the WNBA to progress, like entertainment wise for the fans, like what needs to happen? Because even now, like I'll see a WNBA game and I'll be like, I'm good unless it's the Fever, like if they're playing, I'll watch for Caitlin Clark. But when it comes to other players, not really. So like, what does the WNBA need to do from here to like get to the level of entertainment that the NBA is on?
I'll let Renell go first.
So, and I don't know that I really qualify, but I can tell you from someone that does not follow the sport. I'm an avid NBA fan, right? But I can tell you that I've never been interested in female sports. I just don't feel, and this is going to sound so shitty, but it is my true feelings, right? I've never been interested in female sports. I've always been interested in female sport at the Olympic level because I do find glory and there's drama to it, right? Whereas basketball, high school, college, even at the pro level, to me has never been interesting until Caitlin Clark showed up from the logo. Oh, not threes, right? Because she's literally doing the Steph Curry thing, and so that is but my concern is, can you replicate that and create? Okay, you found Larry, but now can you find Jordan? Can you find Magic? Can you find Akeem Olajuwon? Right? Can we create this multitude universe within the WNBA that just has all these characters, villains and heroes and epic battles at the finals level within the playoffs where you're having like nail biters of or games similar to the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks this past playoff season. Can we establish that within the WNBA? If you can, then I do see a world. I do see a realm where the WNBA starts to expand, and maybe in a few years you start to expand into Canada. And I know the NBA is actually thinking about moving into Mexico and maybe even into Europe, right? And maybe that blueprint that the NBA has established can become the blueprint for the WNBA. But to do that, like any foundational build, coming from a project management perspective, if you're building a house, you got to have a strong foundation. And that first pillar is CC or Caitlin Clark, but you need more pillars. And that's the issue, right? Do you have enough pillars on the horizon that are truly going to raise the bar and raise the quality of the product? And I'm going to use this as a microcosm of the issue I have with the WNBA. Maybe they need to lower the rim.
Maybe they what?
Maybe they need to lower the rim, right? Maybe there needs to be some other rules or parameters put in place so that, to me, sometimes watching the game, I almost feel like I'm watching a JV team, especially when you're comparing it to the NBA level from a skill set perspective, right? Like, you don't see people with the handles, or you just don't see that many females with the handles like the men. Now, is that fair? I don't know, but I mean, I'm not sure, right? Is that biology? Not really, because if you practice, I just feel like you're bouncing the ball, so you should be able to handle it like a man handles it in the NBA, or some of the men have handles in the NBA. So to me, it's a matter of skill set, truly showing your wizardry in your craft as a WNBA player and professional, and not necessarily ever get into the NBA level, because that's not realistic, but raising the bar so that the product is pretty close.
Right.
Okay. I'll give my response. I just want to make sure I answer this correctly. Can you simplify the question, Kev, for me?
Yeah. What does the WNBA need to do to get the same level of, or how can I say this? To draw people in more, to increase their quality, like Raynell said, or like, bring in more viewers,
Perfect. This is what I think they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think they don't have the money to do this, so I don't think they are going to do it. They need to bring in known coaches that's been with Connecticut for 20 years, coaches that's been with South Carolina for 15 years. They need to bring in known coaches that knows basketball, because these college coaches know way more basketball than the head coaches for the WNBA, especially the top echelon of coaches from college. They know way more basketball than the WNBA coaches. They need to bring in better refs. Majority of the refs that they have are high school refs. They need to bring in better refs for a professional league. They also need to advertise and monetize their own league themselves. Don't rely on the NBA. Don't rely on word of mouth. They need to start their own social media platforms, straight WNBA. They need to invest in WNBA products, such as, hey, let's start a straight app for WNBA. Let's start a website for WNBA. I'm pretty sure they have a website already, but just take things into their own hands to monetize their future in the social media climate. Because you have all these young girls that are anywhere from middle school to high school now dreaming about the WNBA and looking at what Caitlin Clark, what's her name, Juju Smith, right?
Yep.
What Juju Smith from South Carolina, Paige Buchers, what they're doing, even the money they're making in NIL, just like the young boys idolize Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders' sons driving around in Range Rovers just off NIL money. They need to take into their own hands their future. I don't think they can rely on the NBA. I don't think they have the right people behind their marketing and advertisement in the WNBA. I think they need to do a conjunction with the NBA and say, you know what, we're going to fire these people that we have, and we're going to consult strictly with the NBA to see if we can boost our product how you guys boosted your product in the height and glory with the Bird and Magic era with Jordan coming in. Now, to point out that's what I think personally, how they can actually raise their ratings. And obviously, I think another way they can raise it is to give back. You've taken enough. One team every year has a free game where fans don't have to pay for a ticket. Every team, one game a year, has a free game where the fans don't have to pay for tickets. Now, obviously, you have to be smart, so now you got to increase your commissary or your beverage and food prices to subsidize that. But that's the way you can actually bring more people in. Also, to push on Raynell or to piggyback on Raynell, I think the foundation, what Kef said earlier, with Caitlin Clark being the foundation, can we say Angel Reese? Can we say they're the Larry Bird in Magic? Yes, but I think it would be better if we put Caitlin Clark with Paige Buchers going into next year. And then when Juju Smith get 100%, she comes in and she's Jordan. If that happens, let me tell you, if that happens, it's over. It's over. Their shit is going to soar. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So you're saying the WNBA should craft that storyline for next.
They should.
Yeah,
they should.
That's actually, there's some brilliance.
That's what I would do.
Actually, yeah.
You got a national champion in Paige Buchers coming out, and she's balling as a rookie. But notice there was really no pushback for her coming in, like how they were doing Caitlin Clark. She's just balling. So now you take her like, hey, she's on the level of Caitlin Clark. We have another contender. You mash them up. So imagine if they meet this year in the playoffs, and they're averaging a 22, 9, and 5, both of them. So you have them, and then imagine when Juju comes out, and then her first year, even if she doesn't win, she's averaging 27. Jesus. I think that's the way to go, bro. I think you put your trust in Caitlin and Paige, but you put your faith in Juju Smith. She can ball, bro.
Yeah.
She's a better skilled player than both of them.
Yeah.
You know what? And I regret that I even brought up Angel Reese because there's no story there. Let's not even bring her up anymore because, like you said, that's Brick City, and all she does is rebound. So
wait, have you guys ever saw?
I saw the meme. It was like
the me bounce, not rebounds, the me bounce.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
She actually commented on that dude's page. She was like, "Whoever came up with that, I'm gonna make it into a shirt." Like, but that's what I feel. But hey, man, we've been on here for 48 minutes. Good conversation. I think everything went well.
I want to say one more thing before we go. I changed my mind. I find myself attracted to Paige Buchers now too, as well. Just FYI. Just letting it down.
The Latino lover.
I mean, I do. I'm looking at her picture. I'm like, wow, she is actually kind of attractive. I'm wondering how tall is this girl?
Well, she's 6 foot also.
Oh, shit. Wow. All these
Remember, they play basketball right now. They're not the shortest women out there. But all right. Hey, so this conversation, episode 20, was about the WNBA. A lot of it was about Caitlin Clark. Some other things about fans. What can we do to increase popularity? Juju Smith coming in, Paige Buchers, Angel Reese, Raynell. Last thoughts and where the people can find you, young sir.
Yes, thank you, sir. So I can be found on Instagram at Raynell_JR.
Is it? You good?
Yeah, that's it. I have no closing thoughts. Thanks.
Kev, any closing thoughts and where they can find you?
No, this was dope. It's like harder than it looks. Like getting all talking about a subject, but y'all are really good at it. It was fun. Yeah, they can't really find me anywhere. I have an image to maintain, man.
Good for you. Yeah,
Hey,
we're a little bit further along. We're starting to lose our filters too. So if you haven't
nothing
noticed
wrong.
that.
Nice and easy.
It-
Hey,
yeah.
proud of you, young man. Thank you for coming on. Did us a favor.
Yep.
For those who don't know, Khephra Jackson is my son. So who's ever watching this, he called me right before we were going on stream, and I said, "Hey, you want to come on?" He was like, "I gotta wash clothes, go get something to eat." I said 30 minutes. We're now 50 minutes in, but I appreciate you, man. I love you, all that good stuff. Proud of you. Um, as far as finding me, November Montgomery, all platforms. And remember what I always say, ladies, stay tight, stay right.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We'll holler at you next time for episode 21. Peace.
All right. Super Negro, throat stretcher, closing the day. Bye.